Well, let me get into my thing. I'm going to have my coffee, sip on my coffee as I'm talking. But I'm thinking about, how do you feel? Everything comes down to feelings. And I was thinking about religion. And, I think the whole point of religion, ultimately, at least in principle, what it was really supposed to be, in every religion, I don't care what religion it is, whether it's the Hindu religion, whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity or anything, there is a principle behind every religion, a single principle. And that is that if you are doing everything right, the principle is, if you're doing everything right, you should be at peace. It should bring about a sense of peace and tranquility. You should have peace of mind. But in many ways, the opposite winds up being true. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of turned off by a lot of religion. As I said before, I do believe in God in my own way of doing it. But one thing that has turned me off from organized religion, and I do emphasize organized religion as opposed to religion that isn't organized, because I think, as Wayne Dyer said, and I love what he says, that the truth is a truth until you start organizing it. That's when it stops being the truth. There's no such thing as organized truth. But the thing is that, the point is that when you have these organized religions, they are no longer about bringing about a sense of peace and tranquility. Because that's what they ultimately are. Some religions have a God, some of them have several gods, and then you got all these different saints and everything. It's like, I was thinking about that movie, that documentary, Religulous, and he was talking to this priest, when Bill Maher. In some ways, all these different saints, in the Catholic religion, become like gods in a funny way. It becomes like multi-god type thing. Because you don't just have, and I thought about one of the priests was saying, this one guy he was talking to, said that, you know who the number one saint was that people pray to, and I don't remember who that number one saint was. It was somebody. It wasn't Jesus. Jesus was actually, even though Jesus, I don't know if Jesus would qualify as a saint or something, but Jesus was actually number 6 on the list. Like, he wasn't even number 1, not even number 3. It kind of made me realize that sometimes religions wind up being something else. They wind up turning into something different. They go through this process. It becomes complicated. And then you have all these rules, and it becomes the opposite of anything that could bring about peace and tranquility. There's all this fear and worry and, wondering, am I doing it the right way? Because every time you get into one religion, let's say if I'm in one religion, some other religion is telling me, you're not doing it the right way. And just like anybody, you start wondering, well, maybe I'm not. And you explore their reasoning, and then they say, well, we're doing it the right way. And then you start to question, I wonder. So you go to your priest and ask him, am I doing it the right way? Well, yeah, because they're wrong. Because, and when you listen to every side, you begin to realize nobody has the answers. And then you get to a point like I did. You get to this point of being shaky about things. What's the right way? What's the right way to believe in God? What's the right way or should I just give up belief in God altogether? But in all of this turmoil in my mind comes the one thing, the conclusion I've reached, and that is the whole point of religion is to bring you peace of mind. That's what it's all about. Whatever you believe or don't believe, if you're an atheist, the bottom line, it comes down to peace of mind. If that's not the case, then believe me, there's something definitely wrong. You take whatever position you take because you want to have peace of mind. Some people, at least in principle, should think that you would have peace of mind if you know you're following the Lord or Buddha or Allah or whoever in the right way, and he's going to favor you. And knowing that you're going to be favored by your God makes you feel at peace. You know you're going to be protected. It's like having insurance. You're protected. You know, it's like if I got my Cadillac Escalade, which I don't have one, but if I had one, I'd have full coverage insurance, because if something happens to it, I know it can be replaced. I can rest and be peaceful in knowing everything is okay. Everything comes down to feelings. See, that's the point that David Hume was making. You know, we're motivated by our sentiments, by our feelings. The intellect, as he said, is a slave to the passions. It's all about how we feel. We see the world according to how we feel about things, not the other way around. And that's true. We see things according to how we feel. The whole thing about salvation and being damned all comes down to feelings. Salvation is peaceful, relaxing. Being damned is very stressful and straining, and somewhat painful to even think about it. So you always do things to move toward the peaceful feeling. Well, I realize I can be peaceful. I can be at peace. I can choose to do that. I can choose to think peaceful, to be peaceful, to deal with my problems in a peaceful manner. And I do have to deal with problems. I mean, you got to get up in the morning, got to go to work. Every day I got to take medicine. I got to make sure that my blood sugar level is right. I have to do work. Whether it's working in my job, working on my health, working on cleaning up my house, working on making videos. But I can do it in peace and not have to deal with a whole bunch of extra complicated intellectual bullshit, you know, because that's the point. It's not being, I'm not anti-intellectual, but it's just I'm tired sometimes of the metaphysical bullshit in life. You know, all these complicated things that have nothing to do with anything other than some rules that somebody made up in some arbitrary way about things which nobody knows is true. You know, I accept that there is a God, and that's me. I'm not preaching anything. That's me, a personal thing. But I do it in my own way that keeps me at peace, that keeps me tranquil and relaxed, and at the same time able to function effectively. I think that's the bottom line in life. You want to be at peace, but you also want to be effective. Now, sometimes people get into getting high emotionally, but they're not very effective at doing things. And there are people who can be very effective, but they usually never enjoy life. So you got to kind of create this bringing together these two things. You know, being peaceful and being at peace. And at the same time being effective, being able to function in the world. You know, and I always thought religion would help do that. You know, at a young age, I was kind of given that impression. But then as I took a closer look, I realized religion works in the opposite direction. It doesn't bring you peace of mind, and it doesn't help you be very effective. That's why I'm not a part of organized religion. I'm religious in my own way. But I think I always have a hard time with an organization, because organizations are for the organization, and they're against the individual. And I happen to be an individual, and I'm not an organization. And that's the way things work. That's just reality.